Hello everybody, welcome back. In today's video I want to talk a little bit about temperature control, and not for the air heaters, because that's obvious. You have a temperature sensor, the air heater hits the air directly, and then the temperature sensor will tell the heater, hey, the temperature has been achieved, please reduce the heating capacity, and then finally stop if it still is getting warmer. What can we do to control the temperature? Because water heaters, as we have them today, they don't have control over the temperature of the air that we have inside a car, a camper, or whatever. So the heaters only know to heat up the water to the temperature that is set from factory, and then when the temperature is reached, we will step back the heating capacity and try to keep the water at a certain temperature. If the heat needs are too small and we reach a higher temperature with the water, then we stop the heater. Yeah, that's okay, but we are only controlling the water temperature. We don't know that those heat exchangers made enough heat inside the vehicle so that we can say that the customers, or let's call them the customers, it doesn't matter if the guys living in the camper or the people traveling with the bus, are already comfortable. So the heater doesn't know if we have 10 degrees inside or we have 20 degrees inside. Water heater again. So what we are selling for smaller cars is this Hydronic 3, and the problem with this one, it's not a problem with the heater, it's a problem with the concept, that how it's made, that we have two variants of this heater. And I tried covering some of this in one of my videos, what I made about controllers, but a few questions came from there, and I think it will be better to clarify this issue and this behavior of these water heaters, to use them correctly and to have a longer service life, because this is the main issue that comes if we do not use the heaters correctly. In the case of these water heaters, we have two variants, and I'm not even talking about the voltage. I'm talking about the controls and how the heater can be started and so on. So let me just put these controllers away, and we will focus on them when the time comes. So actually we have two types of heaters. We have, it doesn't say here, but we can say that this is a CS heater. And we have the other type, which is, let me just find the right paper. I printed out here some schematics, and hopefully we can understand like this more easily. So we have CS heaters and we have CL heaters. Now, the difference between these two heaters physically from the outside is nothing. And let's ignore that this is 24 volts, let's say it's 12 volts. Then for sure it's the same heater, because the 24 volts has a different type of pump, of water pump. But for us it's not important right now. So what this means, these two abbreviations, it's simple for me, it's harder for the customers and the service shop to understand this. CL means, we will shortly say, can and lean, and we will get back to this. And CS, yes, means can and S plus. What we say here is that lean heaters can only be started on lean. So this is the old type of interface of Eberspacher. It's the blue and the white wire. Yeah, we have it right here. This means that the older controllers, I'm not talking about 20 years ago, let's say safely we can say from 2009-10 onwards, and even a little bit closer, when this type of control units were launched. This type of control units mostly rely on lean to start the heater, and it's better for us, it's better for them. For us it's better also because the communication between the controller and the heater is digital, so there are less cables and so on. And another advantage is that we can read out and delete the error codes with these controllers. Also the select I didn't it's not part of this video because it's too simple for what I'm going to show you today. What you need to keep in mind that these both controllers, even if one is remote and one is a fixed element, have the menus the same. So it's identical both, and you can see here on the pictures the display is the same. Everything, logic connections, everything is about the same. So they have both about the same options. So if you are deciding between these two after this video, you shortly can presume both will work the same. So I will even put up the remote from here, because most of the customers will choose this one. Of course, one is the price, and the other is because not all the time they want to start the heater from, I don't know, remotely, let's say. So that one has about a range of 1 kilometer in straight line, yeah. But for others this is just fine, and for most of them this is just fine. We can start safely the heater via lean, and actually the CL heater is the only way we can start it, with lean. So with a controller like this, a timer like this is just fine. The can here, like I mentioned before, the can from this heater is only for diagnostics, and I don't know why I'm eating letters, but it's diag. It's only from diagnostic, nothing else. We cannot do nothing else with the can on CL heaters. Then comes the CS heater, which is can and S plus. But here the difference is that we can start the heater with S plus, yes, so a simple plus 12 volts on the yellow wire, which is here, yes, this is the yellow wire. We can start the heater. The heater will know exactly, it will go up to the temperature that is set from the factory for the water, and then if the heat demand is low and the temperature goes up of the water, then the heater will stop. Same logic. Yes? And until we have plus continuously on the yellow wire, this process will repeat. So when the water drops in temperature, the heater will restart, and so on. So it's simple. It has a limit, I think, of 48 hours from factory. Now I'm not sure, because I think on the last heater that I checked, it was infinite. I'm not sure. But anyway, both ways is enough. Then we have, so if we keep plus, let's say, continuously for 48 hours, then the heater will stop. But I don't think that's an issue anyway, and I don't think you will leave the heater unattended for more than 48 hours anyway. Good. So this is the one, and the other difference is here we can use a simple switch. We don't need any fancy controller or nothing. Good, and the other thing is that here we can also start the heater on CAN, and diagnostics is also on CAN, which here we have only diagnostics. So the only controller, which only, let's say, the most used controller for this one is the EasyStart Pro, and we have only a CAN connection, yeah, and one for an external temperature sensor. But when you connect this temperature sensor, you replace the one from here, so the controller will automatically use this. Sometimes it's good to use an external sensor because the sensitivity and the reaction of an outside temperature sensor is much higher than this one. So if you are not really, let's say, really pretentious about controlling the temperature exactly, you can use this one. If you want a more precise control, a more faster reaction, then you will need to use the one connected here, which is an external sensor, and then the reaction of the heater and the controller will be faster. Okay, this for air heaters. For water heaters, we can only start, yeah, with CAN, and that's it. There's nothing else we can do. We can set the time, of course, we can program the heater, and that's on. And another controller you can use here is the EasyStart Web, which here in our country is not available, so I will not talk about it. And but the principle of what I'm explaining is the same. It doesn't matter if it's the Pro or if it's the Web or whatever. The difference is both can start on CAN. Yeah? It doesn't matter if we start from a phone app or we start from the controller. What we are interested today is how can we control the temperatures correctly with these heaters, because and sorry for the long introduction, but I wanted everybody to understand why it will be different between the two heaters and why and what heater I would choose between these two. Let's start with a CL because I think this one is more interesting and this is the one I would use. Yeah. So what happens here? We must order this temperature sensor separately for this controller, yeah, and the temperature sensor will be connected here on two pins. We have the schematics, nothing out of the ordinary, yeah. The heater will be started, yes, with lean on the blue-white wire as we talked about. Good. Until here, nothing is different. Maybe this sensor, not everybody puts this sensor on. They just start the heater for the, let's say, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 10 hours, whatever. And then in this time, the heater goes to 71 degrees. When the water temperature has 71 degrees, it will start regulating. This means that a little bit before 71 degrees, the heater will go from 100% down, 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 down. Yes, and it will try to keep the heater alive as much as possible to avoid a lot of restarts, because a lot of restarts use a lot of power, electrical power, because of the glow plug. And if the power of the heater, even like this, is too big and the heater reaches about 81 or 83, now I'm not even sure, then the heater will stop. If it can keep the water temperature in this range, the heater will work all the time, yeah, which is not a bad thing for the heater and not a bad thing for our battery and so on. Good. Now what happens inside the car? Because let's say we heat up the water. On the water circuit we have radiators and so on. If you have passive radiators, then you will have probably another pump, or if you have active radiators with fans, you will have the fans. So I will just make an M like a motor, because both cases will be the same. So you have the heat exchanger, and while the water is getting circulated by the heater, this blower or this water pump will keep pushing heat into the cabin. But the heater, this way we can check on the sensor what temperature is inside, but we cannot set it. We only know, and the heater will work until this is reached, until 83 degrees reached on the water temperature, and then it will stop. But maybe at that time we already have inside, we had a set point of let's say 22 degrees, and our inside temperature is maybe 25. Or it can be the other way around. If the heat exchangers are not very well calculated, it can be that well, then if we have 83 degrees we don't care, but the problem is not for the heater not to stop when we have 10 degrees inside the cabin. Yes, and we want 22. So how can we do this with the timer? Because I'm just talking and talking. The easy way, so you must buy this sensor for the timer. You will connect the temperature sensor here, and with changes made in the menu of the timer, yeah, I'm showing those things you cannot see. So from the menu, service menu, we can change some things to achieve temperature control. Let me just see. Okay, this is where I need to have the paper. These lines show me that I'm kind of in the center of the picture. Good. So to achieve temperature control, and I will show you after this how to achieve it and how we can do it, we must enter the service menu. Yes, so this manual you can find on Butler Technique, on ebespeherdirect.com, on a lot of sites. I will not upload it, link it, whatever. You can search it on Google, and you will need to enter the service menu. Yes, following these steps. Basically, you need to navigate in the bar, in the top bar, until you see this key. Press the, okay, I say this the full button and this the empty button, because for me this is this makes sense. So you will need to press once the full button, and then the clock will start blinking in the lower bar, and in this time you will long press the empty button. You will keep it pressed until this menu appears. Now, of course, from here we can read out error codes and so on, but we will not go into that in this video. We will go to the things that I would change. So first I will change menu 10 to on. Why? Because if you want to program the heater, we want to make a schedule for where the heater to start at 6 o'clock, for 2 hours or whatever. If this is left off, this is an option from Ebespeher where we set the departure time by default and not the start time. So what departure time means that if we set 9 o'clock in the morning, the heater will not start at 9 o'clock. It will start maybe at 8:30, based on the calculation of the cylinder, the capacity of the engine, and so on. And so it's, I don't know, it's too complicated, and most of the time the heater will not start. And I've seen this on air heaters, even if they set 9 o'clock, if engine capacity and so on is not set in the timer, it will not start, because it doesn't know how to calculate time before you want to start. So this means start time, if we set at 9 o'clock, it will start at 9 o'clock. They don't care for 2 hours, yeah? So this is why I recommend changing this to on, because otherwise if you program, you make schedules on the timer, I don't think it will work fine, because here we have the engine capacity. Do we want to calculate automatic runtime? So it's a lot of nonsense for us, for me at least, because the customer, no, I want to start the heater at X time, let's start it, and then we do not overcomplicate things. Good. Okay, so this is the first thing I will change. And the second, oh, it's here. Sorry. Let me just keep these papers somehow organized. Good. So the second thing you must change is this. You will navigate to the menu until you get to this point, 12.2.1. And what does it say? Room temperature control on or off. Yes, default is off, so we will set it to on, because this is what we want to do. After this, you will need to remove the 5 amp fuse from the controller, wait a little bit and put it back. Otherwise, some of these settings do not get memorized. You need to reset the controller. Good, if you're done with this, what happens next? What happens next is that the heater, the controller now is in temperature control mode. And what this means is, based on this sensor, we will output a plus signal on the yellow wire. So if we have a lower temperature in the cabin or in this sensor than the one we set on the timer, then the plus will be on. If we have a bigger signal, then the plus will be off. Really simple, yeah? Just like a home thermostat. Nothing complicated. Of course, and then from this plus, now you can drive the motor, a water pump, the fans from the matrix heaters, and so on. You can drive anything. It doesn't matter. Of course, you need to use relays, because this is a really small current that the controller supports here. So you will connect, say here, the coil of a relay, yeah, that's to ground. And from the contacts of the relay, of course, you can go ahead and connect the blower, the pump, valve, or whatever you have on that circuit, yeah. And in this way, you are safe. Of course, here you will use a fuse depending on what you have here, and this will go to the plus on the battery. So this is it, really simple. Of course, sorry for really long video, but I think it's much clearer this way than I would make a 5-minute video. Good. So this is the temperature control on the right way with the CL heater, so can lean heater, and the timer. So what will happen in this case? So now we start the heater, let's say for 2 hours. Okay? Start the heater for 2 hours. What will happen? On the lean signal, we will have a start for the heater. So the heater will start and work for 2 hours on this principle. If the temperature is too high, if we do not have any heat demand, then the heater will stop. Automatically it will do the same thing for 2 hours, but now we can control the inside temperature depending on what we set on the timer. So even if the heater is set for 5 hours, our fans will start and stop according to the inside temperature. And this also will leave the heater running, because if, let's say, at the first start we do not have these problems, because at the first start the water is cold, inside it's cold, and the heater will work for a long time from the first start, which is okay. But what happens when we are in almost in range? Yes, so let's say we have a temperature set of 21 and it will drop to 20 degrees. Now, if we start the heater together with the fans, then the problem comes that it will be really short operation for the heater. Yeah, because the heater will start anyway, and then the heater will work for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, which is not enough for the heater and the burner inside to regenerate. It needs to get to a certain temperature so it burns off the things from the burner. Good. In this way we are really safe. The heater will do as it likes, depending on the time set. We will have the temperature inside like we want it. Good. And this is the way I recommend to do it. So yeah, this is the one of the good ways, let's say so. But what happens when you have a 24-volt heater or a CS heater? Sometimes this is what you get, or you cannot find any other, or in 24 volts there is no CL. Good. So understand that things are a little bit complicated. In this case, what can we do and how I recommend you to do it? Because yes, you can use an outside thermostat, let's say like the one you have in your house, which has a relay inside. Yes, normal open, normal closed. We have the normal open one, and we can take plus from the battery here, let's say BAT, doesn't matter, 12 or 24, and we can easily go and start the heater with it. Yeah, so when the temperature is low, plus start the heater. When the temperature is okay inside, stop the heater. It seems so simple, but it's not good for the heater, like I told you. So the heater needs to work minimum times, it has to heat up, it has so on. So this is where the short cycling is a problem, because on the CL you cannot do short cycling in that way for the temperature control, because you start on lean. If you activate the temperature control, you have it. If not, you will still have the logic of the heater working. But here, of course, if we start and stop the heater manually, it's the same. But let's presume that we are not doing that. We want to heat a room, not to stop to play with the heater. Yeah, good. In this case, even if let's say the temperature inside from our thermostat drops from let's say 21 to 20 degrees, this will close. Sorry for that. It will start the heater. Also from here, yeah, we can start our fans and so on. The same as before. But what happens if the water still has around, let's say, 50 degrees, and as the heater is started, we quickly go up to the desired temperature. This means the heater maybe works for 5 minutes, yes, and we already are back to 21 degrees, and then we stop the heater. The heater in 5 minutes will never reach the nominal temperature, will never reach its working temperature, and so on. And this in time will cause a lot of problems. It will cause sooting in the heat exchanger. It will cause condensation on the exhaust pipes and so on. So it's not good. A lot, and again, a lot of unnecessary used power for the glow plug. The glow plug is activated when the heater is started and also when the heater is stopped, both times. So in order to avoid this, if you have the CS heater, I recommend you use it like this. You will use the Pro only to start the heater. Unfortunately, the Pro doesn't have any other options. Yeah. Nothing we can do about it. We can complain or we can take things as are and try to use them in our favor. Because this is the Pro, yeah, so this is the schematic. It has only this nice little connection and the one for the optional sensor for air heaters, yeah? And you can see the schematic is for all types of heater, hydronic and so on. Yeah, only CS, of course. Electronic, for everything, it's a very simple connection. So, like I said, here I would use the controller, the Pro, to start the heater for how many hours I want, and then I will not connect this here, and then I would use a normal thermostat which you can buy that you use in your house, and that thermostat I would use to start my fans, pumps and so on, just like in this example. So like this, yeah, and this will be the same. And in this way you protect your heater, use it safely, your heater will have a longer life. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, like, subscribe, it will mean a lot to me, and it will motivate me to making these boring videos for you, yeah.